Well, good evening. For tonight, what I was hoping to do, this is the fish that I've been working on. You can see underneath this today, I have kind of a mess, but that's okay. Was going to go over at this point kind of what I'm going to be doing with the fins. And I'm not entirely sure. I was going to be showing some stuff and carving and cutting some stuff and just kind of see where we go from there. So basically, what I've done with my pencil on this one is I actually set it up so that this line right here is where my fin is going to be going. So I've got it on that side. I also have it on this side. Down the back, I'm going to, right here, I'm going to be putting a fin, which is actually going to be becoming the line tie. So it's almost, excuse me, it's more of a line tie. And I'm not sure I'm going to be putting like a center fin in it. I might, but there's going to be two fins on the back. I'll have one. You can see just slightly. There's a little line right here. So I'll be putting one there. It won't be very large. And there'll be another one that'll be going underneath, probably about right in here. So I'm going to be putting these fins in and just kind of getting this ready today. I brought some tools that I thought that would be useful for today. I did bring. I have my little Ryobi. My little Ryobi is going to be used basically for drilling holes in the fins, as well as potentially drilling holes for pinning the dorsal fin and the fins toward the back here. So you use it to pop holes in the wood right here and right here for the fins that are going to go there so that I can pin them. It increases the durability of the entire fish. So I was going to do that. Yeah. So I've got that. I also have this tool. This one I have found works very well for putting the actual cuts into the wood that need to be there. When I initially started this, I was using a utility blade to do it. And the utility blades always made me nervous. I'm on blood thinners. So to be messing around with blades to begin with is kind of a dangerous thing. So to be messing around with a utility blade and using it in a stabbing way is also kind of a iffy thing. So I purchased this after I saw the carving great Harley Reagan in one of his YouTube videos actually using it, and it works just wonderfully for cutting those into the side of the actual fish. So I really looked forward to actually using this on these fish. So we got that. I also have brought some different materials that are going to be used or have the potential of being used for the actual the fins. So I've got that going on as well. And I have a little anvil. I use that to flatten out and to kind of move the metal around if need be. For that, I also use the ball peen hammer that I have here. For that, I have some super glue that we're going to be using. I'm not going to be cutting this, but I did bring examples of other metals that might be used. So just a lot of tools that are going to potentially get used this evening. So I have all that laid out, and I am going to start this evening by kind of showing you what I'm thinking I'm going to do for this fish. I'm going to put some bigger fins on the front of it, but you've got some different ways of going about putting the fins and everything else into this. So you can take what I have found, and they work fairly well. I will take a spoon. This is like a salmon spoon for fishing, or one of these. I think they're called Idaho spoons, something like that. These ones happen to be from Cabela's. I found these actually at a trade show. I believe I purchased these at a trade show with from Al Nelson, but these are some of his. So I can use those, and even though they're a spoon, if I put them on my anvil and I hammer at them, I can actually make them flat, and those will make good fins for this. And I was going to show you about these big salmon spoons. You can also do that. You can actually take it and hammer those flat as well. So I'm going to do a couple of those, and you can see kind of the difference. There, I got to pop these off. Well, they're not wanting to come apart. There we go. They're not wanting to come apart, but you can see, I mean, there's a difference. They're flat, or they've got that movement so that they'll kind of flutter in the water. So I'm going to be hammering some of these, and I actually have some of these that have been jeweled. And I think I may actually use those instead. I kind of like those. I have another one that I did that had those, and I really liked the way they looked underwater. I used it this winter for spearing, so I think I may get those together. I may use these for at least the fins on the belly here. So I've got 4 of those, so I'm going to probably be using those, and I'll be hammering those flat. So I do have kind of a selection of different patterns and things to use to make these different kinds of fins. Fins for frogs, fins for fish, different kinds of fish. The basic fins, these are out of stainless. I do have copper that I'll use on occasion. But all these different kinds of fins, I just kind of keep them. I have some that are cut out. Some I cut out when I figure out what it is I want to do. I will have sheets of copper or sheets of stainless steel that I'll use. I try to avoid using aluminum. Aluminum does some weird things with paint, but you can use it. And also for other fins that you could use, you could potentially use. I know he's a world-class carver, a gentleman by the name of Andrew Gardner. He's absolutely it's impressive, his work. But I've seen him, he'll use different kinds of tins. He'll use galvanized bait buckets. I've seen that, and it was absolutely beautiful when he was doing that. Just it's a way to kind of upcycle, I guess, some of these things. But you can find old tins in antique shops. I spend a lot of time in antique shops, and I'm not going to be cutting that one up. I have a very large, I have a knife collection too, so that's why I have that tin. But that's an example of a tin that would be used. And who knows, if you got doing one for a client, you could always see if they have a favorite tin or a favorite beer can or something, and you could maybe use something, an old one when the metal was a little bit stouter on those. So what I'm going to do when I use this tool to cut the slots in the sides, I usually go right behind the gill plate. So I go right here, and I'll only go back about the thickness of this. So it's not going to be a huge opening per se. I want to get it so that it'll open up, and these fins that I am going to end up using, they're going to be going in about that far. So from the top, you're going to be seeing a fin that's going to look like that on this. I really liked that jeweling that was put on it. The hammering that was put on those. But this right here, I'm going to kind of lean into this, and I just get it started back and forth, and then I'm going to actually kind of rock this fish into that, and it's going to you can see that it kind of broke through there. But you can see I've made this, this perfectly, horizontal cut along my line, my guideline, and I'm going to actually I'm going to come at it so that I'm going. Oh, I gotta get that in the hole, and I'm not going to do it this way, but I've got to get it so that it is kind of eating away at that side because I want to take more off this direction. So I'm going to take this and we're going to get it in that hole just a little bit. Well, there we go. There, just I need to turn that down just a little bit, I think. Okay. So I did nick the gill a little bit. Won't be too big of a deal. I have wood filler and I'll be able to fill that and make that right. I'm going to go over to the other side and I'm going to get that side as well. I'm going to then come back here and I'm going to try to put the fins back as far back as I can and still have access to that hole. So these back fins are probably going to be about right in that area right there. Let's see here. So they're going to be about right in there. And you can see that this will come through and you can see that I'll have access to that hole in the lead cavity. And then at that point, I'll be able to take one of my brads, one of these smaller brads here, and I'll actually be able to take that and put that through that hole along with the other hole, and they'll be in there. They'll never come out. So it's a nice way to add a little bit of durability to that fin, and just to make sure that fin's not going to pop out. I did see somebody had popped in here. I'm not sure who that would have been. That's one of the drawbacks, I think, to this to YouTube, being able to know who's here. I just see that people show up and then there's one and then done. But this right here we go. Okay, rock into that. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit more off the side here. Okay, so I've got another hole in there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set him aside just for a second, and I'm going to hammer out some of these flat, just so that I can kind of show you how this looks in the front, and then I'll go and I'll do the back ones. So what I'm going to do, put this piece of paper over it, cushion it just a bit. Yeah, I won't scuff it up too bad. And then I'm going to just do some gentle hammering. And I'm just trying to flatten out the metal so that I get, yeah, there we go. So now instead of having that bow, it's very, very flat. And I'll get that second one going here. Put that down, put that on there. When you're hammering it, you can hear and you can feel the metal once it gets flat. You can hear it and feel it on the actual anvil when it gets flat. There. So now I've got two of these that are flattened. These are going to become my fins on the bottom of the fish. So what'll happen is these fins will be placed into the fish, and I'm going to need to make that hole on the side a little bit larger because I want that tip, and you can see it on this. You can just see it starting to peek out of that. So I need to make it a little bit wider so that this will go in. It's going to be going in kind of almost sideways, because I want it to have, I don't want it to come out like this. I want it to be out more like this. So not like this, more like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some more off on this backside on both edges. And well, that was like a magic trick. It disappeared. I'm going to be taking more off on this back edge so that when it goes in, it slides a little bit more more like in this direction. So it's going to be something like that. So I got a little ways to go on this, but it'll go. So I just need to use my tool, and I'm going to get rid of that. It's in the back here just a little more. Okay. And I'm looking here. I can kind of see that's as far back as I am right now. So I need to go back about that much farther on that side. Yep, about that much farther. So we'll go on that side too. Alrighty. So I've got those grooves cut. This should slip in. Yep, it does. So you can see now how I have access to the hole. It's slid through the body. Looking from the top, I'm going to have that fin shape. I may even do a little bit more in the back. But the whole thing is, once these get in here, what I would like them to do, and they're close. Oh, they're so close. I want them to overlap just enough that that pin, when I put a nail down through it, the nail will go through it, go into the body just a little bit down in that cavity. So I still need to take just a little bit more off that backside because I want them almost to be like that. Just to look more, have more of that fin swoop to it. So I'll get that in there. So I need to take off a little bit more, probably about 1/8 of an inch. Get this side. I'll take a peek at this and see how we're doing. There we go. Yeah. Yep. There it is. Okay, so now I've got these fins. They might be a little bit small, but that's okay. They'll work. They'll help for the. They'll help. Okay. Yep. And then I'll be able to put a nail in there, and I'll be able to use a. I've got a center punch I can use to put the nail in, and that'll work just fine. So, and in the, if I wanted to, I suppose I could. I don't know if those are big enough in the front. Let me see here what I got. Let's put these in. Those get a little goofy big, but I can cut them and trim them. I can always do that too. Oh, I had another one of those done. Oh, I did right there. So I made one that had, I left them this big that I used this winter. And I know it looks goofy, but I was able to use that also as a cheater. I could put, if you put hooks on your decoys, they call it a cheater. And I was able to make a cheater decoy out of it. I don't know. I don't know what I should do. I should do the one or the other. I'm almost thinking I should cut these. Maybe I'll just make a bigger, I'll make bigger fins. And that's okay too. It's one of the things when you're doing these, if you start doing it, it doesn't look right, or you want to change your mind, it's yours. Do it. You have every right to do that. I may actually change that a little bit. So instead of using those, I might use these. They'll work too. But what'll happen is I'll probably, yeah, about right in there, I'll probably cut them down. So it'll have a more dynamic fin. So it won't be as reflective as that, and it'll be a little bit longer. It'll come out and it'll help this body. It's a little bit of a bigger body, so it's going to help it to glide. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have to hammer flat 2 more of these. And I've got to do these back slots. So I'll be doing the back slots as well. So I'll get those back slots done. I'll hammer them flat, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to cut those up. I'll cut those, and then I'll start getting those installed in this thing. So it looks like I have my work cut out for me on those. So I'll start, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to start right in here. I'm going to get these cut out in the back. So I'm going to hold that far back. That's where I want those lines to be. So I'm gonna cut probably up to about here. Let's see, about right there. Yeah. Come over, about right there. That way the tips will go in here, and I'll be able to pin those in there as well, so that when the lead cavity fills, everything will be just locked right in place. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start this this up again. My oscillating tool. Okay, so I just broke through. I'm gonna go, whoa, I'm gonna go a little bit farther. Okay, so I got that one. Let's see here. On here. Okay, so just kind of look how these two sit in here. So that'll be there. The other one will go right in here. So again, I realize these are kind of big, and they're going to look a little goofy on this until I get it trimmed down and figure out exactly how they're going to go in, but it'll be something like that. I'll be able to cut those down. I think I need to take a little bit more off the other side. This side I need to go up just a hair. Okay, so I got that. So I got those. I got these. I'm gonna pop 2 more of these. I grab some paper towel. These big salmon spoons, I actually got like 200 of them for $10 at an antique store. But they were covered. This one's flat too. That's cool. I still have some of these that are flat. So that one's flat. And it looks like I'll just have to hammer one flat. But they still had like the cosmoline or whatever it is they chose to put on there on these to keep them from rusting, becoming tarnished. So nice and shiny, kind of like that. You can see again the difference. You know, this was just a normal spoon, and I've hammered these flat. Those 3 were flat. Did that at some time. Guess I was helping out my future self. I'm going to take this, and I am going to hammer down on it, and I'm going to flatten this piece out. Okay, I gotta do a little bit more. It's a little bit bowed right in this little area right there. So I'm going to hammer on that just a little bit more. Let's see what we got. No, that's flat. Okay, so I've got those all set up. I'm going to figure out what I want to do for these front ones. I talked a little bit about this in the video I was making today. Earlier, I made one. It's going to be coming out. It was kind of, I gave a tour through my toolbox. If you're going to be using a marker to actually, draw on your fins, my suggestion is do not use red. I've used red Sharpies. I had one laying around one time and I used it. And for some reason, the red wanted to blush through the paint. It like leached itself through the paint. So if you're going to be using a marker to mark these things, I would make the point of trying to use a black marker. Let's see here. How's that gonna look? Something like that. Yeah, something like that'll work. So what I'll do is I'll take this, and I've got it kind of centered up. That's about where I want it right there. You can see. And that's kind of the shape I want it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to use that as a pattern to get my other ones done. So all these will be the same, I think. I may end up making the back ones smaller. I have in the past used it. If I use these bigger ones, these do add quite a bit of weight to that backside and to the bottom of it. And what I have found I can do is I can actually, if I have to, I can kind of reshape those back ones to make it a little bit lighter. So that'll work on those as well. So what I'm going to be doing here, I've got a pair of crescent whisk cutters. These are titanium coated. They have these perforations on the sides here. So these are really nice shears. And I am going to cut around that shape right now. I think it's probably going to come off. I want it a little bit rounded on that bottom edge too, but I'm going to go just straight and then I'll snip it off. So I've got this basic shape right here, and just kind of see what that's looking like on my fish. Yeah, that looks like, I think that looks a lot better than what I was going to initially do. These are a little bit small. A lot of times, this is that needed to happen. So it's going to have that. It's going to glide a little bit better, but that'll work just fine. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to use this to make the other ones. I am going to throw this in the garbage. You want to make sure to, I've got like a little in my garbage can, I've got a little sub garbage can, a little tinier one that I actually use to throw my some of these scraps, because you can see these scraps, they get these like really, really sharp pieces that come out here for when you're cutting. So to try and avoid, putting your hand in something and maybe getting cut, I always try to put all of those in that little bucket. So I just put it in my little bucket that's inside my garbage can. Cutting the steel, I'm not sure how well you can see. Let's see here. You can see this edge. It kind of is wowed right in here. So I'm going to actually hammer that flat again, because this is going to be my pattern for the other ones. Just make sure that's flat. Yeah, this tip needs to go. So it's just a little tiny anvil. And I'm just using that. I'll end up probably nicking that to round that edge off. That back edge is a little sharp for me. But this will allow me to line all these up. I can put my marker right down through there and just mark that and then cut on the inside of the line. I'm going to use this marker. This one's chisel tipped, so I'm thinking this one might work a little bit better for it. So I've got that all lined up. Okay, so I've drawn that black line. Okay, following that. So I'm going to be trying to cut to the inside of that black line. If I cut to the inside of that black line, I will have the outer edge of that pattern. So I'll do that right now, and that way I'll have two of these done. We'll just see how those kind of shape up. Because I'm thinking I'm going to do the back ones the same, but they're probably going to be a little bit large for that. So I may have to make them smaller at some point. But we'll see what they look like. So you can see I'm taking this, I'm lining it up right on that back edge. I'm going to curve that corner. So as I'm cutting and pushing down with this, I'm actually turning with my hand. So this entire thing is getting curved like I want it. Once I make that curve around, I'm just going to follow that down, and I'm going to go straight again. And there we go. It's popped off. Okay, so and here's that. I watched where that went. Again, you can see it's really sharp. I'm going to throw that in my sharps bucket I got inside my garbage can. And I'm going to take this and I am going to hammer it out again, hammer that flat. So I'm going to take this, go around my edge. So flattening it down. See, somebody just joined. Hello, who's ever there. And I think I got that flat. And now, are they? Yep, they're pretty close to being the same. And what's going to happen is I can take those. Let's see here. So I'm looking right now to make sure that they're kind of in a similar position on that gill plate. So this one needs to go up just a hair, not just back. So that's about right. So looking at this fish from above, this is what I've got so far for those fins. And I think these fins are going to look a lot better than those original ones that I was thinking I was going to use. You know, you can use them. That's fine. They're going to work. When you look at a like an Oscar Peterson Cadillac style, very quite often there's a very small little fins. You know, it's also a faster drop. I know that I was able to sit down with a gentleman by the name of Michael Holmes, who is an acclaimed carver as well, and he kind of showed me some ways to change up how fast a fish will swim, and I've been trying to do that. I having gotten into spearfishing and wanting to actually use these. You know, a lot of people will take them and they'll never see water, which kind of hurts my heart a little bit, but that's okay. But I take mine and, you know, I'm using them and I kind of want them to swim a little bit slower. I've found that the pike will come in to it when it's going a little bit slower. And that's kind of what I've gotten into. That's the type I want. So looking at this, I'm going to, I think, make them the same size as these just for a moment at least, just to see what they look like. And then if I have to change them, I will. So what I've got right now, yeah. Okay, so I am going to be taking this one over on that side, and I'll be taking this. I'll line it up again. I got my holes lined up, and I'm going to be taking, again, I've got this chisel tipped Sharpie. And I'm making this line. I'm going to be cutting to the inside of that dark black line, and that'll be my edge. Smeared a little bit. That's okay. I'll know not to go there. So I'll cut that one off. I'll have those two for that side. Let's see here. Okay. I'll make it around that corner. There we go. So I've got that one. Where did that go? There it is. Always take care of those sharp ones because you don't want to get poked, or you don't want someone else to get poked, or if you have a pet. I got a little dog running around. I don't want him getting messed up with that stuff. So I got those two, and now I'm going to get this last one over on this side. So I got them lined up again. Sharpie. Okay, get those lined up. I'm going to be using that flat edge. May wick underneath it again. That's okay though. Let's see what happens. Okay. So that'll work. So there's that one. And I'll have that one, and those will be the fins. I was just thinking, I'm kind of glad too. I know I may actually use these offcuts that I did. I got to do two fins on the back. I might be able to use those. We'll see. That's nice. Another nice reason to have those little tiny pieces for the other metal. If I have those, I'm able to kind of dig into them and use the scrap. So we'll do this one first here. Make sure everything's hammered flat. Here it goes. I'm going to cut straight through. Oh, it's not wanting to go. There it goes. Okay. So again, very sharp. I'm going to put that still, even though I might be using them. I'm going to toss them down there in my second one. Okay, I'm going to make sure these are all hammered flat. So that's flat. This one has a little bit of wow down here on this one edge. Okay, so I got those. Hammer this one down. If anyone's on my Zoom meeting, I know I've got some people that prefer to do those. That's probably going to be ending, I would guess, in a few minutes. They only give you like 45 minutes of time. So that usually ends, and then I have a little bit longer with my YouTube studio. So what I've got going on here with this fish so far, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those back ones are going to need to be a bit smaller, and that's okay. Let's see what this looks like right now. I do like those front fins. And the back ones are going to have to become a little bit smaller, I think. Let's see. From the top. And I feel like it should just be a little bit smaller. Not a lot, but I don't know. Eh, you know what? I think I'm going to leave it. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. So with that said, the next thing I'm going to do, I think I forgot to grab one tool out of my little toolbox. I did go over my toolbox today in my the video I'm making for my next part, my series that I'm doing. But I'm going to be using this punch to kind of get on the top of that nail and be able to push it in to the chamber, to that lead chamber. And I should be able to also, I think I'm probably going to be using a super glue gel to kind of seep into this opening, just to kind of make it a little bit more watertight down through there. Yeah, that should work. Let's see here. Super glue gel. Gel. These are all gel. No, it's okay. I'll use super glue gel, I guess. So the brads that I've been using, this is what they look like here. I'll grab a couple of them out. They're smaller brads, and they have a little bit bigger hole. And the reason that I've got them with that bigger head on them is so that they don't just go right through the hole that's in the actual fin already. So I've got that kind of just balanced in the hole. I put a little bit of pressure on it to kind of get it seated in the wood, so it's not moving around anymore. And I want to kind of make sure I look at it and make sure that that's going to be set up the way that I want it, which it is. And then I can actually take this. I should be able to just push it into the wood. This particular wood I'm using, it was a white pine. The wood was given to me by a student that I had many years ago at this point. And then I'm going to take this, and I'll do the same thing here in the back. Again, if you've been here for the other ones, you know the chamber in the back's a little bit smaller than the one that's in the front. So I'm going to be taking that. It's going to take a little bit more to push it in. I'm thinking I can probably get it. We'll see. If I can't, I may have to hammer on it just a little bit. Oh, there, it just kind of seated itself. Okay, I can feel it going. There we go. Just started to drop. So I'm going to make it right up flush to the level of that. There we go. Perfect. So there I go. I've got my fins laid out kind of where I want them. Okay, so far I've got my fish. It looks like a couple of those fins may need to be kind of tweaked, and you'll be able to tweak those, especially after the after you get your lead in them. You won't run as much risk of actually snapping your wood once those are in there. I'm going to take. I got to push that back down in just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to. I think next. I have these. This would be for the line ties. So these line ties in a Cadillac style, what's going to happen is those line ties I'm going to be putting holes along this back side, this back edge, and I'm probably what I'm going to do is I'll use my punch, and I'll pop like little holes through here, and I'll be using my Dremel tool to actually drill those holes out. So I'm going to try to get that done tonight, and I'm thinking that that'll probably be about the time that I'll have to stop for tonight. So the next time we meet, I'll be working on getting this back fin in here and the bottom one right here in as well. So I'm going to try to get this cut out for the fin, or this line tie in the back, and then there's going to be the fin there and the fin there. But I'll get all those next time. This is what I'm going to focus on trying to get to and get through tonight. So let's see what we can do here. So that'll work. Yeah, I'm going to go this way. It'll give me a little bit more wiggle room on the holes and where the holes are going to be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I want to put at least 5 holes along that back. And I want them to be fairly equally spaced. I've been lucky with all the drawing I did as a child and when I was younger. I was going into drafting, so I'm pretty good at eyeballing things. So I'm going to put one here. Hear that pop, and you can see it makes like a dimple. So when I go to use my Ryobi here, I'll be able to drill a hole right in that little dimple. So that'll work just fine. I'm going to go right along. I'm going to put one here. Okay. I'm going to put one in the middle. Okay. And put another one right here. And I may put ones right in the between, or in between those two. Just that way, it's nice to have more than you need, to be honest. It's a little more forgiving, especially if it's your first time. It kind of gets a little bit tricky just doing one line tie. So you can see I've got these spaced out equally. I'm going to put, I guess, one more here. Put another one here. Another one here. One more here. Okay, so I have all these marks, and they're all probably that's probably about 3/16 apart, all of them. And it does dimple out the back. You can see that it's come out the back. I'm going to be using this piece of scrap wood that I've got, this piece of white pine. I'm going to be using that to drill in. But what'll happen is this will seat the little dimple I've made. The drill bit will actually it will kind of ride that little dent. I'm gonna grab something though, just because I don't feel like cutting my hand. I'm getting out my my safety glove for cutting, and I'm doing that because once I get this going, and if I have my hand there, I'm going to get this going. I'm going to be putting it pressure down to drill through these holes. If it catches on that, that thing can start to swing around and you could get caught by that. So I'm going to try to avoid that little bit of this. Clean up my workspace a little. Put some downward pressure, and then I'm going to see if I can't get through. Okay. So you can see I've got my first hole. Once I get all of these drilled out, I'm going to take my anvil and I'll flatten this again. But I need to go through and get it riding in that little dimple. And then I'm going to put a little bit of downward force on it, and it'll just kind of work its way down through it. I've been really pleased with this little Ryobi. This thing works well for me. So that went right through. Here comes the next one. Pop through. There we go. Here comes the next one. So kind of take a peek at what's happening. I'm just drilling through these. Each one of these little marks that I've made, I'm just kind of going through them, popping them out. That one tried to walk out on me. It's okay though, once I hammer it flat, you won't even know. There we go. Okay, this is the last one. Let's see here. Yep, looks good. Not too rough on that back edge. Okay, turn that off. I'm going to take all those little metal bits and drop them. I've got a garbage can that I usually, and it's not a can, it's a box. I have this box that I keep between my legs here to just throw things away in. Flip it over, go the other direction. Okay. Yeah, nice and smooth. Shouldn't be cutting any rope or any of the line or anything. So that works out real nice. So I've got this is going to be my line tie, and it's going to end up on the back of this. I got about 6 minutes left before this is over this evening. And I'm going to be putting it about right through there. And that way it'll come out the bottom inside the top of that lead cavity. It'll be coming out. It should just be cresting it. And what'll be nice is I'll reach down. I've got I'll be using this probably, and I will actually get the tip of that and I'll bend it over while it's in the lead cavity. And again, once the lead's in there, the thing will never come out. So that'll be good to go. So I'm going to take my glove off. That out. Things kind of get slippery. There we go. Okay, so I have on the back here, I've got this line, and I'm going to be going down that line with my tool. And the way this is going to work, right there, yeah, go that way. It's going to be about right there, where it's going to be. So I need to make a cut in that back. It goes from there, about right there. So that's what it's going to be looking like. I'm going to have a line down that spine and about, where's it going to be? Right in this area. Right in that area, I'm going to be making a plunge cut that's going to go all the way through the body, coming out the bottom into that lead cavity, so that I have that going into the lead cavity, and it'll actually be able to be bent into that. So I've got to put that in there right now. So here we go. I used to do that with a utility blade, and again, in my mind, it's just incredibly dangerous to be doing it with a utility blade. You can do it. I just, in my world, because I'm on those thinners, I can't be doing that. Okay, I've got it's probably about a quarter of an inch down into the body right now, so it's looking like it's probably about right to here. Between those two marks here and here, like I just stated, I'm going to be taking and making a plunge cut down through there. So let's see how this is going so far. It's going to go down through that. Yeah, it's going to go down through that. I'm actually going to, let's see here. I'm going to pop that little nail out. I'm going to pull those fins out so I can get through there, I think. Let's see what happens now. Okay. This hurt my fingers getting hard. There we go. I felt it slip through. Okay. I gotta try to get it going on this other side. There we go. So let's take a peek here now. What's we got going on? So looking at this should, yep, there it went. So I'm gonna eat it out just a little bit more here. Take a little bit more of that wood going in the back here, a little bit more in the front. That entire piece should set in there. It is 7. Typically, I only go to 7. I'm gonna just finish this to make sure that I have this entire process kind of done. Okay. So I'm thinking this should all drop. Let's take a peek. Let's see. Yeah, it just needs a little bit more on that back side. Is it the back? Yeah, it's the back. I got to take just a little bit more off right there. We should be good. Hopefully. Yeah, that's better. So I may do just a little bit more to get that in, but you can see what happens. This I have all my line ties now. These are all different holes that I can actually access and use to swim this. A lot of times you're not quite sure which one's going to be the one to work. Typically, it's like one of these ones that is right off the back of that gill plate. And when I flip this over, and it's kind of hard to see down in there, but I'm going to point with my lead. This right here is actually this. It's that same piece. It's come right through the bottom of that lead chamber, that lead cavity. And what'll happen is I'll actually go in there and I will bend that and twist it, so that that'll never come out of there. But I do want it to seat in just a little bit farther. I bet you if I gave it a little bit of persuasion with a hammer, it would work. A little bit more. Started to bend just a hair. There. There we go. So I've got that kind of lined up where I want those. So that's looking good. I'm going to be putting these back in here. And when we come back and meet next week, I'm going to be working on putting in these two fins in the back here and just making sure everything's ready to lead. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to get everyone out into my garage and actually get this thing leaded up. I may be doing one of these little meet and greets out in my garage to actually to do the leading. So anyway, thank you very much for coming this evening. I appreciate everyone that does a great deal. If you get the opportunity to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate that too. Hopefully, you know, the stuff that I do here will help everyone in their spearing adventures. And just to kind of catalog the whole idea of spearfishing for future generations. So stay safe, and thank you very much for joining me this evening. I appreciate you all a great deal. And until next Tuesday, I'll see you. Stay safe.